Just big picture, what's it mean to get this franchise into the second round for the first time in 5 years?
Well, certainly from a coaching perspective internally, we talked about it. There's so much parity in the American League now that, it's just tough to win. But for us, it's been 5 years, and, we wanted to be the team that was able to get us over the hump here. And, so it feels real good right now.
How much did that big hitting first shift by Newberry set the tone for the game?
Well, as I told Newberry's line yesterday, when we met with them as a group, I felt ever since we put them together in early February that they were the line that was kind of the X factor for us, and I felt that in this series or in the playoffs in general that they could be that. And I thought they were very good in Game 1, but average in Game 2, and I thought they really struggled in Game 3, and we needed a better game from them. And I thought they responded tremendously well and got us going right off the hop, and that was fantastic to see from those three guys, because when you meet with players individually or as a line or as a deep pair, when you get the response you're looking for, that's great.
Well, this goes along with that question, but the concerns you had after Wednesday night's game about discipline, about not giving 60 minutes, not being as desperate as them, did the players hear that same thing that you told us?
Well, I think so, because we spent a lot of time video going over the things that we needed to improve on, and we met individually and with lines, and we probably met with about 8 to 9 guys who we felt could give us more, and I thought it was a total team response tonight. And the good thing about our team is I felt all season long that when we needed a response game, we got it, and tonight we needed a response game, and I thought from all 4 lines, all 6D, and obviously Groovy back in the net, that we got the response we needed and moved on.
Can you tell us why Groovy came out?
Upper body injury. We just didn't want to take any chances, and he got hit in the second period there, and with the lead, and I think regardless of the score, quite frankly, he was probably going to have to come out, but so I would consider him day-to-day right now with upper body injury.
I know you said multiple times taking the season, week by week and now game by game, but how much, as you alluded to earlier, did being the next Bears club to go into the second round for the first time in 5 years motivate you through the course of this year and obviously now at this point?
Well, I think you do it in stages because, it's such a long season, and first and foremost, we talked to the guys in October. The one thing we made sure we did when we talked to this team in October was to talk about Calder Cup, because that's ultimately what it's about when you put the jersey on or coach in Hershey. But it's not easy because of parity in the league. So the first step was to get the franchise back into the playoffs, and we responded with that. And then the second thing we talked about was, as a staff more than to the team, to be honest with you, was to try and get the team past that first round hump that's been, obviously since 2009-10. So the guys itself, we took the mentality all year, 1 week at a time, and just win the week. And playoffs, you've got to go game to game. I really don't believe too much in the momentum from game to game, especially when you have days off in between. And we've seen this twice now in this series alone. I think there's momentum swings within the 60-minute game, but you get 3 days off. We take a 2-0 lead. They respond. It's 2-1. You have a day off in between, and we respond. So it was great to see.
I'm sure you were a bit surprised with a 10-goal outburst. What is your approach when you get such a big, just trying to get out of here healthy?
Well, the thing we talked about in the second intermission at 6-2 was not necessarily that we had a score on the power play, because we still had 3.5 minutes on that, or almost 3 minutes on that 5-minute major, was to get our chances and continue with the momentum. The approach tonight was to play the game in 5-minute increments and win your shift, because basically you're looking at a shift or shift and a half per 5-minute increments, and that's how we kind of approached it. So at 6-2, you feel comfortable, but at the same time, felt pretty good as a staff to get that one real early goal in the third period to kind of put it completely out of reach.
How's Galley?
much like Grubauer, he's upper body and going to be day to day. Both guys were in the room post game and chatting and all that, but certainly going to be a day to day situation with him as well because it was a little bit of a vicious hit there in our opinion.
Regular season, Worcester's the most disciplined team in the league. How ironic is it that you end up playing a series that's kind of bookended by majors here?
Absolutely. Obviously the first game was certainly a huge change in that game, and tonight as well. We made two or three small adjustments to the power play units, and I thought the power play was clicking really well tonight. So it was real good to get those goals on the power play because it just creates so much momentum for you.
Obviously you can't really anticipate 10 goals, but was there anything through the process after Wednesday, perhaps yesterday or this morning, that tipped you off that you guys looked a little bit more locked in, particularly in the offensive end?
Well, we felt that we didn't really test Grosnick the other night. He made some saves, but just watching the game, we didn't make him work. And and Scott Murray does a heck of a job of not only dissecting our goalies and how they need to be better, but he does a great job on the pre-scouts and the others. And he felt that if we made Grosnick work tonight, we'd get 4 on him. And, we had 4 pretty quick. And I thought we made him work hard tonight. And so that was certainly one of the keys going in that we talked about. And I would think, if I went back and looked over everything, I think we probably achieved every key that we talked to the guys about going into this game.
You won't play again until Wednesday. Can you talk about the importance of getting that break, that 4 or 5 day break?
Well, if you win Wednesday night, maybe the break's too long. So now it's a nice little break. Guys will get tomorrow off, and we'll go back at it Sunday. And there's no use. The guys need the rest, but I think from a staff perspective, we need tomorrow off as well. We won't know until tomorrow night who we're playing anyway. So we'll get back at it, and that's still 3 practices before we start at home Wednesday. So plenty of time for preparation on the coaching staffs and rest and practice stuff to go over who we're going to play next week as well.
Any early thoughts on Hartford or Portland?
I think tonight we're just going to enjoy it. It could be Providence as well. It just depends on what happens. So, no. Oh, I didn't know that. So, things are falling into place for us. And, Hartford's, they've got some skill and, they've got some guys that can put the puck in the net, and they've played, they went into the final 10-game stretch of that regular season as one of the hottest teams in the league. And I thought, quite frankly, that with Providence getting the guys down from Boston, that they'd be in trouble in this series. So we'll wait and see. Portland, that whole division out there, Manchester, Worcester, and Portland, they go. They skate. They got good transitional game, and they just it's a you're in the same league, same conference, and that division just was way different from our divisional play that we've seen this year.
So Grubauer's first start in exactly 2 weeks, if you want to combine here in Washington. Going into tonight, any sense of fear that he might be rusty at all with the long layoff?
Internally, absolutely, but you're not going to talk about it. But, as I said to someone today, Mitch Korn up in Washington and Scott and Murray here, they do such a great job of preparing the goalies that aren't playing. And I know it's not game action, but there's no doubt in my mind that Gruby was being pushed up there when he was backing up Holtz. And I know from just watching Scott Murray in action here that he pushes, Copley or whoever's Keegan, So, yes to your question, but, I thought that he was very focused and solid for sure. Okay, we'll see you next week. Thank you.